Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to learn about pulse shaping. First of all, what is pulse shaping? Pulse shaping is the process of changing the waveform of transmitted pulses. This makes the signal better suited to its purpose by limiting the effective bandwidth of transmission. Why do we need pulse shaping? Pulse shaping is needed to reduce inter-symbol interference, also called ISI. How is ISI caused? ISI is introduced when a rectangular wave is transmitted through a bandlimited channel. Why do we need to reduce ISI? The presence of ISI increases the probability of error in transmission and reception. For the bit transfer process, we represent the bits as voltages. We use the NRZ pulse, that is not return to zero pulse. Here bit 1 is represented by plus A and bit 0 is represented by minus A. When represented graphically, these are rectangular pulses. From our study of signals and systems, we know that Fourier transform of such rectangular pulses happens to be the sinc function. Next, we have Fourier transform of rectangular function. First of all, the pulse pt is bandlimited in time domain. On computing the Fourier transform of the given pulse, we get sinc function is the transform. The bandwidth of the sinc function is infinite. So, in order to bandlimit this signal, we pass it through a bandlimited channel. In this bandlimited channel, we assume BC equal to 2 by TB. On passing PF through bandlimited channel, we get the following function, where all the values after 2 TB are 0. Due to passing the signal from bandlimited channel, some frequencies are missing. This implies that the signal has changed in frequency domain. So, the signal also changes in time domain. The figure below shows the effect of band limiting in frequency domain on time domain function. In real life, we transfer a series of rectangular pulses, not one. The rectangular pulse in first figure shows an example of a signal to be transferred in real life scenario. The Fourier transform of this rectangular pulse is also of infinite bandwidth. So, we pass it through bandlimited channel to obtain a function with zero value above a frequency of 2 by TB. Change in time domain due to removal of frequencies on passing through bandlimited channel. In the above figure, we can clearly see interference of various pulses, causing inter-symbol interference ISI. Due to absence of higher frequencies, the rectangular wave has now flattened, smoothened and became wider. Here we can clearly see that pulse 1 is interfering with both 2 and 3 pulse. This leads to distortion of signal and decrease or increase in magnitude initially assigned to given wave. Due to interference, the frequency of occurrence of error is more, which we need to reduce. Pulse shaping is mainly of three types. They are sinc pulse shaping, also known as Nyquist criteria, raised cosine pulse shaping, Gaussian pulse shaping. We will discuss only the first two methods in this video. First, we have sinc pulse shaping. In this method, we take sinc pulse as pt. The Fourier transform for a sinc pulse is shown, which happens to be a rectangular pulse with bandwidth Rb by 2. This is also the minimum bandwidth that can be obtained. In this case, we can see that the signal is bandlimited in frequency domain, whereas earlier it used to be bandlimited in time domain. In practical situation, we transfer multiple sinc waves as shown in the figure. Here we can see that the pulses are interfering but not at the points of our interest. For example, At t equal to TB only pulse 2 has its effect while pulse 1 and 3 is 0. Hence there is no ISI. Some of the advantages of sync pulse shaping are: as a sync pulse is band-limited, there is no ISI introduced by band-limited channels. Also, the bandwidth is minimum. Problems faced while using sync pulse shaping are as follows. We do not know the reference of the system. If transmitter and receiver assume different references, there can be a timing error in synchronization. The timing error in synchronization will lead to inter-symbol interference. This will increase probability of error. In order to reduce ISI, we use raised cosine shaping. Raised cosine pulse shaping. To overcome the error in previous case, we use raised cosine pulse shaping. To do so, we need to narrow the main lobe and decrease the amplitude of side lobes. This is done by multiplying the sync RBT with a time-dependent factor that is mathematically derived. The factor is cos pi alpha RBT divided by 1 minus 4 alpha square RB square T square. Alpha is the role-off factor. The value of alpha lies between 0 and 1. If the timing error is more, then the value of alpha should be more. As alpha increases, the narrowness of main lobe increases and the amplitude of side lobes decreases. These figures show a sync wave without the raised cosine in blue and the one with raised cosine in pink. Their respective Fourier transforms are also represented in same colors corresponding to sync functions. Here the bandwidth of Fourier transform of raised cosine is more than that of sync pulse. The next few slides show the variation in narrowness of main lobe and decrease in amplitude of side lobes with respect to changing values of alpha. Alpha equal to 0. Alpha equal to 0.5. Alpha equal to 1. Bandwidth of raised cosine pulse is 1 plus alpha into RB by 2. For alpha equal to 0, bandwidth is RB by 2, which happens to be minimum bandwidth. Alpha equal to 0 in raised cosine pulse, similar to a simple sync pulse, is the multiplying factor become 1, leaving behind sync RBT. For alpha equal to 1, we get bandwidth equal to RB, which happens to be maximum possible bandwidth. Thank you.